guys. So I'm gonna show you today how I tube feed my chickens. She has a feather falling off her. I'm gonna show you how I tube feed my chickens. Um, the only time I really tube feed a chicken is when there's something going on with them. You notice something's off. You might catch one just being super lethargic in the corner. You may pick one up and be like, oh my god, they feel really thin. It's really hard to tell with all these feathers and poof. I picked this girl up. She's acting a little bit more lethargic. She's actually pretty active during the day. The sun's going down right now, so she's kind of getting ready to like tuck in for bed. So she always gets kind of super lethargic at night. So I noticed with her something was off. She has a little bit. She's recovering still from Rhineck. She had Rhineck pretty bad. It was she was like tucking her head down in between her feet and like walking backwards every time she tried to eat. So she'd try to peck what's in front of her and she'd miss it completely and just like eat like sand or nothing because there was nothing there and she was just walking backwards. So I've been treating her with vitamin E and selenium. It's an orange paste. You can get it at Tractor Supply. I get it. It's actually for kids, for goat kids, not human kids, goat kids. And you do like a tiny pea-sized drop a couple times a day. And the vitamin E is what they really need. But the selenium is also great. It helps their body to absorb the vitamin E. So I've been treating her for that. She has gotten like way better, but because she wasn't able to eat properly, she lost a lot of weight. So I've been tube feeding her like once or twice a day, a little bit. I'm probably gonna wean off to once a day now because she's doing a lot better. And I can feel that her weight is gaining. But what I usually use is, so it's baby bird food, and this is like a dry powder. You mix it in with some water, and then you tube feed it. It's by KT. It's literally what you feed baby birds. If you've ever like raised, like I hand fed a cockatiel, you mix it up with some water, and I get the high fat one because usually when I have sick chickens, you probably will find them super skinny. You're like, whoa, what the heck's going on? So you need to kind of like fatten them up and just get them to gain some weight. Tube feeding is not a fix. It's just something you do to kind of hold them over and help them eat if they're not eating and drinking themselves. It's a great way. It hydrates them and feeds them and nourishes them at the same time. This one's chock full of like a bunch of like vitamins, nutrients, everything that your chicken needs. So it's a really, really great thing to have on hand. And then I got this, it's the tube for the feeding, and then the actual tube that is going to be inserted into their crop. I got this tube from the vet. I'm sure you can find them on Amazon. You can see it's even discolored because I've like used it and washed it so many times. You just want to wash it really, really good in between each use. And then these ones you can order off of Amazon. I have a whole like package of them inside. The only thing you want to make sure is that when you are tube feeding, it's really easy to aspirate these guys. So you need to make sure, one of the biggest things is you're not going to go straight down their throat. You need to go down. I always, always, always go down their left side. I'll show you in a second what I do. I kind of pry their beak open and slide the tube down like the left side of their throat. To make sure I'm avoiding the airway. The airway is in the middle. You do not want to go in there. So I'm going to show you how I mix it, and then we're going to go ahead and get some food in this little girl and get her to bed. So it's like I said, it is kind of like it's like a powder. So I always take some water. You're going to want it to be kind of liquidy, and mix it in. She's a small little girl. It depends on what kind of chicken you are tube feeding. And I mix it with this. You can use a spoon. And this stuff does thicken up as you stir it. And if you let it sit, it'll get thicker. So I kind of like a little bit of a soupy consistency because it will thicken up. If it's too thick, it will be really, really difficult to push out of the tube. So you'll be sitting there struggling. And my viewpoint on it is that they need the water, they need the hydration anyways. So I like it a little bit soupy, kind of just go and suck it up. If you get air bubbles in it, you never want to over tube feed these guys. What you doing, girly? So you can see I got tons of air bubbles in there. Now she is eating a little bit. I could just tell like her crop is not as full as it should be. kind of like you're giving an injection. You want to get all the air bubbles out. You don't want to shoot a bunch of air into her crop. They're just going to make her uncomfortable. Kind of like, I don't know, gassy, I guess. But yeah, you fill it up, get all the air bubbles out, attach your tube, make sure it's attached really nicely. I have this in case it makes a mess. But really, let me show you now what we do. If they're not eating or drinking at all, their throat may be super, super dry. You may want to You may want to coat it with some like olive oil or coconut oil or anything that you can get in there to kind of help the tube to slide down easier. And what I do, and it doesn't hurt them, it doesn't make them uncomfortable. You can tell she's kind of just like hanging out. Stick her between my legs and kind of hold on kind of tight. She will get kind of squirmy. So you'll feel her resisting. And I take it I'm right-handed. What I do is I take my left hand and I take her little beak in my hand. She's getting mad, she's gonna fight me. And I take the bottom beak, and you can see her tongue, and I pull up with the bottom beak. I'm not hurting her, I promise. But the tube, like I said, down the left side, you make sure you're not in the middle. As you slide down, you want to kind of pull up on the beak to pull and elongate her neck. And then you'll kind of feel, and you can feel once you're in the crop. And then I slowly start going at first, just pushing down, watching the food go in. She's going to resist and pull and fight a little bit. If you ever see any of it spilling out on the sides of their mouth, stop immediately. You could cause them to aspirate, and if they aspirate, the food or the liquid gets into their lungs and could easily give them pneumonia. You do not want to aspirate your chicken. I'm sorry, lady. All right, so I'm going to finish her up. Now that I don't see anything spilling out onto the sides, I know I'm in the crop, so I can go kind of faster to make it, quick and painless for her. When she's done, I'm going to pull her out. And as you're doing that, you can literally, her crop just got super full. And you can see her, she's kind of like, what was that? What was that? So her crop is really, really full right now. Super full. So her crop is super full and she's happy. I'm gonna put her away for the night. But like I said, you just want to make sure nothing is spilling out as you're doing it. If you do, happen to aspirate the bird, put her down, make sure, give her time. Just want to make sure that just don't aspirate your bird. I don't know what to do if you do, but just make sure you don't. And yeah, make sure you know that tube feeding is only temporary while you figure out what's really going on with your bird, because if they're not eating and drinking, there's an underlying issue, and tube feeding will buy you time to figure out what that is, to get them to a vet, to hold them over until they can start feeding themselves again once they're treated for whatever's going on. So she's overcoming from wry neck. She's starting to feel a little better. She's still really underweight, but she's going to pull through, I think. She's going to be okay. Alrighty, I just want to thank you guys so much for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more. We'll have tons more, tips, different things on wry neck, different illnesses that could be wrong with your bird. So please like and subscribe. Alrighty, thanks guys. Bye.